Oh, hey, 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 oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, 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 Fort Beck Community College, Ukiepino, yo, yo, me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, iogi, piano, yo, yo, wata, pevi, hagi, ktabi, ichachi, ya, bino, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, hi, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hey, ya, yo. Hey, hi, hi, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Fort Beck Community College, Ukiepino, yo, yo, me too, gashi, dagush, kashka, iogi, piano, yo, yo, wata, pevi, hagi, ktabi, ichachi, ya, bino, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya, hey, ya, hi, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, ya, yo. Hey, ya, hi, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya. Hey, hi, ya, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Yeah, ungi, yeah, be, hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, ya, hey, hi, oh, hey, oh,
Can you hear me?
hey, oh. Hey, hi, ya, hey, ya,
Good.
oh, hey,
Good.
hi.
All
Okay,
right.
ladies and gentlemen, we are live. We are rocking and rolling. So this is the part where we say how mitaku yapi,
Oh,
dayan yahipi do. I want to welcome everyone to our humble Buffalo Chasers podcast in a good way. We want to welcome you to our Okola Kichie. It's good that you're all here today and our Buffalo Chasers podcast. We do our best to share some good things, and we have the two main Itanches are in the house, Mr. Earl Bullhead, Mr. Tommy Christian, and Mr. Elijah Hopkins, yours truly. And so today I want to say it's been a few weeks since we've been on, and we always try to do things in a good way and in a prayerful way. So if one of these distinguished gentlemen could share some good words, some good prayers in a good way. Earl, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm out of here, man." So I guess that leaves Dexy Tommy, unless you want to wait for Dexy Earl to come back. Otherwise, we can just kind of visit and catch up a little bit, or what do you want to
we,
do?
we can wait on Earl. He has
Yeah, let's
such
wait
good
on
prayers,
Earl,
that guy.
man.
We'll just wait till he go. Where'd he go? He was here and then he left, or what?
Yeah, I seen him and then I looked up. I was gonna just give him the thumbs up, and man, he took off. Well, that's okay. It's okay.
Nietzsche ole, doki alala o. Wana
Dogiaya.
uelo, okay, Nietzsche. We're inviting you. Come back. What about what's his name?
Jerome Killsmall.
Jerome. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Earl said something about he had some other obligations, but Doksha
okay.
next time, man. It sounds like he'll be here next time.
Well, we can
So-
get started. We can start with a prayer. I'll
Whatever
do
you
it.
want to do. What's to do?
Mi taki pidaya hipi tatanka kuapi okola kichie. Daya hi ushimala kchewi chashamia lo makia na ha wuchikia ambetukile na ha chante waste uelo. Mitaki pia omakia na ha agnagupta wuchikia. Atukashila na wakanta kata deya doba unchi makana makaina. Nakumi taki api wanagi makpia aktaya ge hocho ka akta hiopo. Ushia keni taki api na ha wayaza pi unchi makao mani na ha chante yoksi jo mani owi chaki apo ushi wichalapo. Atukashila na wakanta ka kiksi apo mitaki api unuk chalapi wichak chalapi wakaya japi hokchilapi unchinchalapi koshkapi we koshkapi. We chozani upi in chanku washte upi owi chaki apo ushi wichalapo. Atukashila na wakantanka kiksi apo mitaki api na hagichita oyate kizuya ekta. Wichasha bile apile chanku washte upi ambetukile. Atukashila na wakantanka ushi akemi taki api oyate oyase chanku luta aga omani owi chaki apo ushi wichalapo. Atukashila na wakantanka Ekche wichasha mielo, hohe chajemita wamnisha ge doba imachi api ushimelo omakia na agnagopta wuchekia mitana. Oh, mitake oasi. Wamakaska oasi. There.
Pidamia.
What's that?
Beautiful prayer. I see Earl's making his way. Well, he disappeared again. That's okay. We'll keep going here. So usually we always try to plug our program with some incentives and all that good stuff. So we have a Buffalo Chasers jacket up for grabs. And so, yeah, actually Tommy's rocking it right there. It's got that real cool embroidery. Last week, I think her name was Charlene Baldhead.
Yeah.
From up in Canada. She was the winner chicken dinner. So we hooked her up. And so this week, the winner of that is, we did that whole drawing thing on that board, and the winner of that was Mr. Lance, 4-star Lance. Congratulations to Lance, man. He's one of our more hardcore viewers for like 2 years straight.
Get that guy like a 5Xer.
Yeah, he needs like a 5X, that guy. But so congratulations to Lance. So I'm sure we'll see him over here at Student Services and we'll hook him up. But I'll let you guys kind of run with it. Someone's knocking at my door here. They don't know we're trying to podcast, but that's all good. Take your way, Hookah.
Hechitula wopila chicha pelo toshka dai chanu Hookah. Chante washte you ha. And again, my relatives, again, we'd like to welcome you here to the Buffalo Chasers Society meeting, if you will. And again, if you're a student at the Fort Peck Community College, you definitely are a member of the Tatanka Kuapi Okola Ichie. So you're a part of the meeting, and in that, we understand the importance of having that respect, that responsibility, that discipline within ourselves to always be representative of not only ourselves and our family and our tribe, but as well as our community. And I think from a Fort Peck Community College perspective, that's what we do, is we represent our community just in those that definition of what a community college is. And so we try to go and walk in a respectful way, make sure everything is done with some dignity and honor so that we can maintain the integrity of who we are as a people. And again, we're not here to try to make good Indians. We're here trying to make good human beings, if you will. You know, Toshka, one of the things I was thinking about is a lot of our people, especially, I guess, involved in these educational institutions, are not realizing one factor, and that is that we are not a religion. We're not a religious organization when we talk about Tatanka Kuapi Okola Tichie. That represents a society. And what that society represents is a protocol in which we do things within the disciplines of belonging to a society. And in that, we're not a religion as they define it. What we are is it's a spirituality, and it's a way of life. But so many people have referred to our way of living as a religion, and it's not a religion. And from that has evolved keeping our cultural value system out of the school system under the auspice of separation of church and state. And that's not fair to our culture, because we wouldn't impose on anybody if we were a religion. We wouldn't do that out of respect. But since we're a spirituality and it's a way of life, how we try to help people understand the importance of developing the strength within ourselves as it relates to character development by exercising these virtues each and every day. We want to maintain that integrity of who we are as a people. So, but for so long, people have looked at us like a religion, and you'll find a lot of older folks, they refer to us our religion. It's not a religion because they were told that. But once you break it down, you have an understanding that it's not a religion per se, and not even per se. I don't even want to say per se. It's not a religion, period. You see, it's a way of life. And how we try to help us all understand in representing ourselves, our family, our tribe, and our communities is developing and exercising our character in a manner in which is represents all these virtues, caring, sharing, loving, generosity, patience, all those good things that help us become stronger so that we can become a good representative of this of the way of life that people are to maintain that integrity of our way. So a lot of times people don't understand. Hey, Jerome. Dai, wana he chituelo. Opila chichiapelo. Oh, but what I was sharing is, and this is mostly for Jerome and Earl. For so long, our way of life has been referred to as a religion, and it's not a religion. And the reason I say that is because from a political perspective, our non-Indian relatives have been identifying us as a religion and keeping us out of the school system or the educational institutions, because they say that falls under the separation of church and state. Okay? And we don't. The reason I'm sharing this is not to be political, but to provide some discussion and possibly some understanding in respects to our way of life is a spirituality, which is representative of the exercise of these value systems based on our ability to exercise these virtues to become strong again. So it doesn't impose or infringe on anybody else's right to exist. It just affords them an opportunity to make sure that everybody can has an option as it relates to becoming a good human being, not being a bad man as it states in treaties. Otherwise, I'll kick you off the res. But that's in reference to that. And so what's been happening is a lot of the school system, the institutions, especially in elementary school and high schools, they call us a religion, and we're not a religion. It's a way of life, and how we express that way of life is we should and could and need to start incorporating this abstract learning process into our educational system to help us understand the importance of that experiential teaching that abstract learning process represents, as opposed to this linear process, the reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's representative of that. But what this abstract learning process brings into play for our young people is a sense of balance. And how we do that abstract learning is land-based teaching, experiential teaching, hands-on, pounding cherries, picking sage, gathering rocks, stuff like that, tanning a hide. That's abstract learning. That's something that needs to be recognized by the school systems itself, just for the sake of, especially if you're on a reservation, especially for the sake of the learning and the balance that can be provided to our young people by enriching and enhancing their life as it relates to opening their minds and giving them a bigger sense of this world view perspective. Now, with that all being said, did that make any sense to anybody, or am I just kind of don't know what the heck I'm talking about? Because I think that's a good discussion for us to realize that for so long they've politicized our perspective, our value system that under the auspice of natural law, to making us look like we're a religion, but we don't have rules and regulations. We don't have that. We have protocol that we follow. And that's what, again, that's afforded to each and every individual to follow that protocol if they want to. They don't have to. So that's what deters us from being a religion per se, because they have the 10 commandments, they have this guidance and direction in a religious way to follow those things, and that's what it is. Well, we don't follow under the separation of church and state with that philosophical approach to incorporating this land-based teaching into our schools, as well as the language, eh? And so, again, that's something I'm going to be speaking to a whole bunch of academy leadership or something on Friday evening for the Office of Public Instruction here in Montana, and I'm going to provide that understanding to them. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there to kind of gain some understanding from Nietzsche Ole and from Jerome. What do you guys think of that? What am I talking out of my ooze, eh? Because my mouth knows better. Oh, so what do you guys think?
I think that in our state, South Dakota, it's really critical because they're trying not to include a lot of the Lakota way of teaching in classes. They're blocking that. And
under that church and state. Yeah, Jerome, under that church and state. Under that church and state law.
And so and that's on our ballot for voting this year to allow that or to disallow. And so we have to, inform a lot of the people who are voting is the ones who have to know. And it's really difficult to do because the other ones have a lot of money. The ones that are all together. And so it's really hard to, the Republicans, they really have a lot of money to campaign.
You see, Jerome,
that's where we're up against.
Yeah, do you see, Jerome, that's the problem. And that's what we're trying to convey to the people that take on this Tatanka Kuapi Okola Chiche attitude. Is it's not a religious perspective, but how they politicize it is they feel like it has to go on a ballot, and it does. That's how they're politicizing it. They need to be able to accept it, especially if you live on a reservation. This is not a religious perspective. This is a spirituality or a way of life for us that helps us understand these things from a cultural perspective under natural law. And see, nobody has addressed that in that way, because again, when they're trying to refer to us as a religious people, we don't have rules and regulations or 10 commandments that we follow. But people that don't understand that are interpreting and defining our way of life of their own accord. Okay, and it's not right. They're missing the point, because this is a way of life for us. This is called abstract learning, and we utilize land-based teachings to help our people. And from a ceremonial perspective, when we do these things, we're wishing to remain apolitical and apersonal, because that's not our intent, is to become political or personal. And if somebody does, then you know that's not going to work for them. And that's where we've been standing back and not clarifying who and what we are as a people in respect to maintaining the integrity of who we are as a Dakota, Lakota, Nakona, Shahia, whatever, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, whatever. See, they're not understanding that difference of religion and spirituality, because what we do is not trying to impose or infringe on anybody else's right to exist by implementing our own laws. That's what they did. That's not us, because we're just trying to help people understand the importance of becoming stronger human beings. Hunupa, Brehicha. And we're trying to help them to become stronger, Wowashaki, or whatever they want to call it, in respects to not becoming trying to buy your way into heaven, but just being a Ekjewichasha, and then having good wishes, like even Wachekia, they interpret that as prayer, and it's not necessarily a prayer. It's wishful thoughts for other people. We don't pray for ourselves in our way of life, and because we do these things because we can. We have a purpose and a dedication, and we try to understand that purpose and dedication, and then continue to help out for the sake of the greater good. And there's no politicization in that whatsoever. We don't care who you are, what you are, we'll help you. That's where that Dakota and Lakota name evolved from. I'm your ally, I'm your friend, I'll help you. It doesn't just say Indians. But, again, philosophically, we need to fully understand that if we're going to help our people understand the importance of looking at life for the sake of becoming a good human being, like this one old man, he said, Lakota he macha tukehia, Lakota wa macha tukehia. And they said, well, what did he say? He said, you're all Indians first and I'm an Indian first. Well, that white guy got all upset. I'm not an Indian. I said, no, that's not what he intended to say. What he really meant to say is, you're all human beings first and I'm a human being first, eh? It's hard to be an Indian, but I love my Indian ways. It's hard to be a human, but I love my human ways as it relates to that Changleshka or that Wamakashka. Sonwa.
Yeah. Mostly it has to do with poverty too.
Oh, yeah.
When I was teaching at USD, the native students, they don't get their fee payments until about a month later. Yeah. And so in the meantime, they need their textbooks, but they have no money to get their textbooks. So they're behind a month already, going to class without textbooks.
Yeah.
And so there needs to be like the tribes have to know that and start some programs to help the students who go off the reservation to college or public schools, to help them with money to get them a jump start. Yeah. Otherwise, some drop out right away and they're absent from class because they don't have no books. So they're already up against it going in. I used to put the textbook on the screen in my classroom so that the students could see it. The student could see the textbook until they get their textbooks. I put it on the screen so I could help them out that way. And so there's ways to compete. And that's the way I was doing it, is because they really need to have the textbooks in those classrooms, because a lot of the tests are based on it. And they have to know that going in. people who don't go to college don't know that anyway. You know, some of them just drop out because we're up against a lot of monetary things. Sure, we're good at thinking, and some of us are good mathematicians. We know English skills, but we need to have help to get those students their textbooks and pay for their rooms, you know, the dorms and stuff. You know, all of that is, I think, there you could use institutional racism because we're not rich enough to get our textbooks or pay for our dorm rooms or pay for our food. You know, they get those tickets to buy food, but you have to buy them for the semester. And so that's where I see difficulties. It's not that all of them are having difficulty, because there's some students who have rich parents that could pay for things way before fee payment. But a lot of students rely on those Pell grants and tribal grants and fee payments, loans, grants. They need those right away, day one. And so that's what I'm concerned about. We could do all the thinking we want, but when they don't have the tools to move forward in classes right away, there's a difficulty right there.
Yeah. Nietzsche, Ole, what do you think about that? What's your thoughts on that? Just give me an understanding. Is he there, Elijah? Is he on?
Oh yeah, he's on. I just don't think his speaker must not be on because he can't hear anything.
Turn your mic on, bro. Jay, turn on your mic. I'm gonna go up that schneek. Can't hear you. But you see, just for the sake of the discussion, as we wait for Earl to get on, you know, that's one of the things is to live like we live, Jerome. You know as well as I do. We try to remain apolitical, no politics involved, apersonal, no personal agenda involved from a ceremonial perspective, because we represent all the huhunupa, the two-legged. Yeah, and in that understanding that we need to realize the importance, because there's no hierarchy in that Wamakashka, eh? They're all the same. Everything's the same. That's the way we believe. And that's what the Kewichasha represents. And so as we do these things, what's happening is there's a definition of our way of life, our value system, where the non-Indian people have called it a religion. It's not a religion. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And in that, they politicize it according to their standards, not ours. So how they got it put on a ballot just to teach land-based teachings is not even appropriate. That's kind of disrespectful to us. And again, it denies us who we are as a people. You know, we still speak our language. We still live our way of life and do our ceremony and pray to the creator or our creator, whatever that may be. And again, that's the way they're trying to continue to oppress us by not even acknowledging us as a people. And that's why I say maintaining the integrity of who we are as a people is something that needs to be addressed so that we can go from a clean slate. And so all these other issues, like what you're talking about, Jerome, that's a political agenda of our leadership. They have programs that should be helping these ones. And then it comes down to who do they help, because they don't have enough money to help everyone. And so they usually end up helping their niece and their nephew. And their grandson
Yeah.
or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. But that's a political agenda. What I'm addressing is our non-Indian relatives need to quit referring to our way of life, our belief system, our philosophy as a religion. It's not a religion because
Yeah.
we don't have the laws that they have, eh? That they got laws they got to live by. We don't. We're very free spirited. We're free thinkers. We live our life in a good way, trying to prepare ourselves. You know, Jerome, do you understand? Na ke nula wa'un. They say that.
Yeah.
In a spiritual way, they say that to prepare yourself for the mystery of death. Eh? And so in our
Yeah, I'm clicking on it,
preparation,
and it's got
that's where
mute
we
my audio.
try to get ready to
Yes.
go and that's where we tried to get ready to go to this next place where we meet all our relatives. That's why we say Dokcha Akewa Chugginkte. Because
I
we
muted
will.
and still
Yeah.
they can't hear me.
I can hear you. I can hear you, bro. Can you hear
Can
me?
hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now?
They're very
Yeah.
like your cat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very like your cat.
That's a cool one.
Wash down you potatoes.
So did you
Well,
hear my
I kinda-
discussion? Shit.
Yeah, I caught the first part of it, but when you talked about the institutionalized sittings, you know, there's a lot of fluctuation that goes on, you know, like you got the different funding sources that come into schools, there's quotas and all this kind of stuff that comes along with
Yeah.
it. But in some schools, they're very fortunate that they're able to administer, you know, cultural activities and utilize the money for what it's for and all that kind of good stuff, you know? But one of the things that comes to mind about that is that we have, in most schools that I've been to, you have a controlling school board that goes through and sort of census, you know, censorship kind of aspect of what can be. That's okay, you can teach that, you know, that's okay, that's not that. And so we as Lakotas, you know, the word wakan, you know, is something that immediately people say, oh, Lila wakan, you know, he's going to really be wakan. He's really wakan. We had a young youth going on the internet, kind of making fun of that, you know.
Yeah.
When I got a hold of it, it was all over, but they're making a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And so the necessity for us as adults is to, how would you say it, put it in such a way that these kids understand that the spoken word that they come out of their mouth is sacred.
Oh.
So wakan is just part of a way of living, you know.
Mhm.
But they've taken it, put their own spin on it, you know. Not that wakan, you know, and then
Yeah.
that's in the mindset of a lot of these young kids.
Yeah.
He's really wakan, you know.
Yeah.
If you talk about a certain subject matter, they say, hey, Lila wakan. So we're not doing ourselves or the system itself doing any justice to the kids that do not understand what we're, you know, what has happened historically. And
Yeah.
so the procedure or process of that is a continuation or a continual thing that we have to put up with for many years to come, and will continue because a lot of the kids are not getting help from the parents. You know, they're not
Well-
getting that reinforcement that they need to be able to understand that when we speak our language, we don't have no profanity. We
No,
don't have things like that, you know?
no.
And so when I first noticed that a lot, you know, because they don't know, they don't want to learn themselves. And that's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
You know, instead of them doing some self-research and finding out a little more. And we have some good parents out there doing that stuff, but the majority of them, they could care less, you know. That's none of my,
Yeah.
they're supposed to teach at school now. They're supposed to get that in school now. So why do I have to, you know, research and do what I got to do? And a lot of these kids don't even know where they come from.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no idea, you know, who their grandparents were, if they had Indian names. They don't even know the districts in the schools, you know?
And that's a
Because-
part of our cultural value system, Chie.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be incorporated in there. We're supposed to know that. As
So-
Lakota or Nakona.
Yeah, we have to, I always say, we have to step in that direction where in which we need to get parents to understand that their children's education is 50-50. We work with them 50%. Parents should be working with 50% and learning those identities, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so system that I'm employed under now is a grant school, you know, and their funding is really tight. And so everybody's limited now. But there was a time when there was lots and was discussed, a lot of activities took place. Like we got an upcoming event that we're trying to plan. So we're relying on our own people to do the old way, you know?
Yeah.
We're gonna honor the vets, you know, on the 10th in the afternoon. And so we've got people to come in to post the flags and all that stuff and do a roll call so the kids can be educated on what that really is all about.
Yeah.
And then rely on parents to bring what's hecha. I mean, to bring help out with food, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all on a volunteer basis. And to me, that's the way it should be. A lot of these people, like institutions, say, well, if we provide a meal, we'll get more people to come, you know? And in many instances, it works. More people come, you know, because they know they're going to get a meal that they don't have to cook at home. And so it brings back to that old, is where when I was young, taught to us, well, you got to be prepared, you know? You got to learn how to be prepared, you know? And I came from Boy Scouts. We learned that in Boy Scouts. You be prepared. And it's always stuck with me, you know? So getting that conveyed over to the young people. Like the other day I said, are you guys prepared for winter? It's not here yet. It's not here. It's nice. I said, it's coming. I said, your shovel's got to be ready to go, you know? You know, all that stuff, your winter clothes, your boots and all that stuff. You go up, oh, you know, you got to be ready. It's coming. You know, it's inevitable. It's winter. When I'm on the other corner, oh, sneak, you know.
Y pobre, una uelo.
So a lot has to do with that experience that we have as, you know, educators and teachers, that we get that across to these young people that said, they ain't gonna hurt you, be prepared. It's like going off to college when Jerome was talking about relying on all these grants and it was so easy. It was right there, you know. And you needed money, you applied for it. I'm still paying for mine because it helped my family out, you know. I had provided some extra mazaska so that we can get more things at home for the kids, you know.
Yeah.
So having that economic, you know, a few steps behind, it needs to change somewhere, somehow. And why isn't that being instituted on reservations? Ours, we're fortunate. When we go to school on a scholarship here at Standing Rock, we graduate, we don't pay any of it back. You know, the tribal financing we get, you graduate, you don't have to pay it back. But these other institutions, you know, the interest and all that stuff that takes place, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars for everything you need, books, meals, dormitory and all that. I've been there, done it through it, you know. And so I, for myself, like I say, all right, get prepared because you're going to need all that stuff before you get to school. A good car, you know, think about getting a good car, thinking about having a backup for yourself, you know, and all those things. And that's not happening. And being prepared for future events is not instilled in a lot of us. And we fell short of that when we were young too.
Well, you
know?
see, Chie, that's representative of a learned behavior. They call it an attitude of entitlement. And that's what we're taught because we're given general assistance, per capitas, all that, and think the government's going to take care of us. We don't have that independence that we once had back in the day where if we didn't do it, we're going to starve because you couldn't depend on nobody. So again, that's a learned behavior though. They put us in it. That's a part of that assimilation according to standards that weren't necessarily ours. And again, that's what I was addressing is we're living up to standards that are totally alien to us as a people. And all we're wishing to do is incorporate or implement somehow, some way, this philosophical understanding of what it means to be Nakota, Dakota, Lakota, and all of these things, but yet, just like Jerome was saying, they even put on the ballot, are they going to teach Lakota way of life in the schools? Sure, as if, because how they politicize it now is we understand the importance of our genealogy, our lineality, our history, and it's been shared within us. But again, in a political perspective, in a political arena, what they're calling that is CRT, critical race theory. And they politicized it because they don't want anybody telling the truth about the history, about some of the atrocities that have been affected by the people that they tried to dominate, and which was us. And they didn't dominate us because they beat us up. They dominated us because we let them. We thought they weren't going to lie to us. My relatives, they walked with the truth. And so they thought these non-Indian people were telling them the truth, and it ended up being a big lie. But now we're coming to that, and now we have to, I would think, in a responsible way, kind of redefine what it means to Lakota Wamacha Tokeya, to be a Lakota first, and then share that with them so they can understand how to become culturally responsive, especially to me. And like one girl asked the other day, Tommy, your braid's kind of messed up. Can I braid it for you? And I said, no. I said, I'm traditional. I said, I can name on my hand, one hand, how many women have touched my hair. And I didn't tell her no, but I was trying to help her understand the importance of the respect that I pay to what is mine, what is personal. And again, I don't let anybody just take it and play with my hair, if you will. That's because to me, that's an indication of disrespect of myself. But again, a lot of people don't understand that. Like what you're saying, Chia, about them saying, oh, he's trying to act Wakhan, and making fun of that. That's again a part of that oppression or that forced assimilation of implying that what we do in our ceremony is like voodoo, witchcraft. We don't do that. I've been to a lot of ceremonies. I've never been to a ceremony where it was done to hurt anybody. But I've been to all of the ceremonies I've been to, have always been there to try to help somebody. Dakota, Lakota, Nakona, Emielo, Niano, whatever you want to say, because we're there to help you. We're your ally, we're your friend. And so our ceremonies reflect that. Our language reflects that. There's no sarcasm in our language. What we mean is what we say, and what we say is what we mean. And that's an indication of respect for other people. And that's why I say when they refer to Wachekia as prayer, it doesn't mean prayer, not necessarily. A heartfelt cry or wishes for other people it's not a prayer, because again, that's something that they're not understanding from a basic fundamental perspective as it relates to our philosophy. What do you think of that, you guys? Think about that.
When they put the woe in, it changed a lot of definition.
Yeah. Wowancha. That's another one. That's spiritual energy, where I think Wancha is spiritual energy. To me, I define Wancha as spiritual energy, not holy. You see? Wancha Tancha. That big spiritual energy where we're all going to end up. That's my heaven, what they call heaven. But they want to change it. Somebody changed Wancha to Wowancha to fit their agenda. Think about it, bro. Wowancha. Who put that in there? Who put woe in there? Think about it. You think that's a contamination of our language? Ihana washte. I never did say that. I'm bet to washte you are.
Yeah. Today we will work on Wakan Tanka helps us.
Wank and tanking.
But in South Dakota,
How?
In South Dakota, the one they're trying to block is, they call it critical race theory.
Yep,
And that's
exactly.
when Lakota want to teach their own history,
Yeah.
they don't want to allow it.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about it.
Yeah,
Still
They
embarrassed,
want
that's
to
why.
teach about America and the government system is the beacon of our lives in our nation, and that's what we should be teaching. They don't want to hear about the Lakota history the way it really is, because they're probably
yes,
embarrassed
yeah,
of-
exactly.
of the Holocaust, of
Yeah.
all those millions of people that are gone. They don't want to talk about that. They want to talk. They don't want to talk about the truth, and that's what they're trying to block. And so we're up against it. We're trying to get that through so we could teach our children ancestry and where they actually came from, and
Genealogy.
yeah, our successes. They don't want to hear about our successes, because it's really a tribal and intimate kindness. They don't want to say Lakota aren't kind. They don't want to say that.
We're
They don't wanna
savages.
say- yeah, they don't want to say we're intimate and caring for our children. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to stop. They're trying to
You-
block
you-
that.
You see, Jerome, that's what I mean, Nietzsche, LA. That's what I mean, Chia, is we want to remain apolitical because we're the thing, what we're representing is that Changleshka, which is totally inclusive. It includes everybody based on that word Wamakashka, eh? All the creation, everything, plants, animals, birds, whatever, insects, and they're totally included in that Changleshka. And that's where they don't want to go to. And that's where they're denying us, like where
Yeah.
we're talking, they're denying us that avenue to address, especially from a culturally valued perspective, on how we make ourselves strong. We don't lift weights. We make a strong heart. Chante tiza you ha ha how did you do that? I did the chicken dance. Oh,
Yeah.
but but the thing of it is we have our own way of doing these things, but they won't acknowledge it under, like I was saying earlier, Chia, they're trying to say our way of life is a religion. It's not a religion. That's the point I'm wishing to kind of convey and try to help people understand that it's a way of life for us, and how we can help them understand the importance of achieving that sense of balance that we aspire to is by affording this abstract learning as well as this linear learning into the school systems. That abstract learning would be experiential teaching. And again, that's why I mentioned we need to really implement going out and involving themselves in nature and getting rocks or cutting a willow or cleaning a hide or stuff like that. It's not the act itself, it's what they realize from that in respects to learning how to respect what is truly Wahan, filled with the spiritual energy, eh? And that it'll make themselves stronger. But see, now that's the philosophy, and I'm not trying to impose or infringe on anybody else's right to exist. At the same time, I'm wishing for them to gain understanding that we are different, that diversity and the uniqueness should become an enhancement and enrichment for the sake of the growth of our children. And it's all based on natural law. What do you think, guys?
I just come back from the clinic not too long ago,
Uh-huh.
and while I was sitting and waiting for my ride to get there, a couple of elderly men come in. And immediately, it was the knob,
Oh,
it wasn't a word spoken, it was just,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He said, "That actually a I said, He said, what do you mean by that? Yeah, well, co-agdak. I said, Wagdak, you know it. So we sat down and we talked and visiting and telling each other about the weather and all that. That's talking in Dakota.
Oh,
And another old guy come in and he sat down and so we sat there and had a little short, brief conversation. And all these young kids were sitting around, sick they were, you know, and really listening, said, looking at each other, I wonder what they're saying, you know.
yeah,
So
curious.
there are good people who do understand that the opportunity arises. You know,
Mhm, yeah, all the time. All the time. Yep, yep. They talk about immersion, and if you can speak it, speak it. But if you can only speak a little bit, speak a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't be inhibited. You know, I try my darndest. I always say stuff messed up, but I always get corrected in a good way. They're always helping me enunciate and say things in a proper manner because I just say whatever dope chink shit. Oh, I got okay. I just talk any old way, you know.
yeah. You get sensitized to, like
Yeah.
for instance, I often wonder how they would instruct a child to put their foot in a tennis shoe or a shoe. You know,
Huh.
there's got to be a word for that. You know.
Yeah.
You know. Now, ochbaya.
Now, oh,
That's a new word I learned. Now,
put your foot in there. Or what?
yeah, just push it in there. You know.
Oh,
But anyway, so I write it up on a board and the kids say, gee, that's another new word. And I said, yep.
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. But anyway, I really enjoyed that, even though I wasn't feeling too well. But I have now gotten bladder infection. I can't believe that. Unreal. Never
Oh,
had that issue.
those are tough. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I gotta
Yeah.
take these strong
shot.
antibiotics.
yeah.
That's why I left earlier when I got up, because it also leads to an emergency bathroom run. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to go. It
Like,
wasn't
like I was
because I
telling,
wanted to get out of.
like I was telling you,
I didn't
brother
wanna
man,
get out
drink
of-
a lot of that cranberry juice. That cranberry juice sure helps in that regard.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
give it a try. I've been drinking it.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you remember those days where you crimpled up those newspapers?
Make them
And
just
the
soft.
covers.
Oh, okay.
But
Make
the
it just
insides were all
soft.
used, the hard cover, yeah. What the heck? Really breaking it fine. But anyway, what time we got here? Holy smokes, okay.
Already. But I'm gonna be talking to an academy of teachers from the Office of Public
Ah.
Instruction, and I'm gonna try to convey that to them, what I just shared with you guys about we're not a religion, but it's a spirituality.
Look up what I said about that critical race theory.
Oh, échate,
Yeah, look it up.
Critical race
Yeah.
theory. That's what I've been trying to help them understand is that's how they're
Yeah.
politicizing it, eh? They don't want to
Uh-huh.
tell the truth. Holy
But when
cocky
you pull
snake.
that up, it'll tell all about it.
Yeah, yeah,
When-
yeah.
When you put South
Attitude.
Dakota,
Oh,
Yeah.
échate, Ella. That's it. But that's what they're doing. Again, that's not us. That's non-Indian people that are
Yeah.
doing that because they don't understand who we are. And that's where we got to
Yeah.
step up. And our leaders got to step up and say, hey, that don't apply to us because we live like that's important. That's a part of our way of life already. We tell the truth. That's why I say, whoa, we chaki obo money. You know, we already do that. You guys don't do it because you're embarrassed by it or you're ashamed of it. We're not ashamed of the way we live and how we do things, you know, and so that's where that critical race theory, they're putting it on a ballot. And then those Republicans, like what you're saying, Jerome, they got all this money and they're going to try to win according to their
Yeah.
standards, not ours. So if we live on
Yeah.
a reservation, our leadership should take that into consideration and apply
all right,
that understanding within the schools.
Let's take, I hear little birdies. You hear those birdies?
Yeah, those are Jerome's birds, little dogs.
Yeah,
That's it, dude. Oh,
only want a
sounds
cracker.
good. Yeah, yeah. So, Toshka, are you there?
Oh, how you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll
You
get into
guys,
that.
Henana, are you guys finished up or?
Yeah, how?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I just got I just got a few, I guess, updates. For those of our students that are listening, a couple cool things coming up. First of all, so today or this month is National Indigenous Heritage Month, I believe is what they call it. But I always
Yeah.
found it ironic because we work at a tribal college, indigenous community. Every day is Indian Day, right? So
Yeah.
me and my Tahanshi Jeremy, we were asked to do a keynote presentation yesterday morning over at Chankreska Chicana Community College. And for a couple hours, they zoomed us in and they brought in the high school students and we talked about the bow and the arrow, how it's constructed. So we're probably going to go down there sometime and do some
Oh, what's
workshops.
that?
But they were really enjoying it. And really what it boiled down to was connecting through relationship building. That was like really the theme. And I think that's something that we always try to incorporate, like having you gentlemen here to share things and the relationship with the land, the relationship with ourselves and counteracting all that trauma. Because when I was listening to you guys talk about like the politicization of all this stuff, that's really not my forte. I'm just not good at all that type of stuff. I just try and learn language and try and engage with people that want to learn stuff. So that's definitely an uphill fight, all that CRT stuff, but that was really good information. That was really awesome. One other thing, we talked about doing this experiential land-based stuff. We have a buffalo hunt scheduled for December 21st, which is Wanichoka. So it just happened to fall on that day. The college was approved to do a traditional buffalo hunt. And so we're gonna invite some students, some community members to check it out. I have a crew coming up from Pine Ridge. It's going to help us with the butchering. We're not going to harvest the buffalo and then just send it over to some butchering processing plant, man. We're going to go old school and we're going to do it right on the spot. We'll do pipe ceremony. We're going to have men and women there. We're going to just like a hana, we're going to dice it all up right there. And we'll take it out to this building that we got and we're going to use all of it. Tanika, all that good stuff. Tashupa, man, it's going to be a good time. And so we're working on that now. So I wanted to let students know that that's just over the horizons. It might be a little cool out, but it might be warm with all this climate change business happening. But either way, we're going to be there, man. So it's going to be a good culturally enriching experience for our students. And if they want to grab a butchering knife and join us, you guys are welcome. So I just wanted to kind of give that announcement.
They understand that.
Yeah, Wanichoka. I think that's the term for
it's a solstice.
the winter solstice.
Yeah.
So with that, I don't really got any other announcements, but on I think it is November. Let me double check here. Yeah, November 21st, we have a Thanksgiving dinner. Because every day is Thanksgiving for us, right? But we're gonna have a one at the college campus here. You guys are invited and come over from North Dakota, South Dakota, wherever, and kind of wokenog with us a little bit. So that's the only updates I got, but I appreciate all of you guys. So any other comments, concerns, or is it shut it down time? Oh, Dokstab.
Doksha,